And finally, in this series on the best and worst planets of Vedic astrology, we're going to talk about the planets that tend to lead to success, the best and worst planets for success. And these will also be the best and worst planets which support success within your life and support the success in other people's lives and in all situations. Now, once again, we have to remember that each planet plays a role, but some planets play a bigger role in different areas. For example, when it comes to success in life, achieving one's goals, two of the best planets are Sun and Saturn. These planets are karakas or indicators, in a sense, for the D10, the 10th divisional chart. And that 10th divisional chart shows us with how much strength and activity will a planet be able to project into the world? How much strength and activity can that planet project into the world? And the reason Sun and Saturn are so important is because Sun is the ability to be inspired and to follow an inspiration. Saturn is the ability to do hard work without concern about whether it's going to go well or not. Saturn is just focusing on doing hard work. And many people say, you need to have a positive attitude in order to succeed. That might be true, but most of the time, someone who has a better plan and works hard every day, even if they've got a bad attitude, they're probably going to succeed. So a good attitude is helpful, it's beneficial, but it's Saturn, the day-to-day work, the tediousness, the doing and doing and doing, which supports success. And again, the Sun is the planet of inspiration. And many of you know, think about this, when you have been inspired to do something, you will find a way to make it happen. And just keeping it very simple, people who want to go to football games, they will do whatever it takes to change their work schedule, to save up money to go to that football game. People who want to improve their health and really improve their health, if they have an inspiration, a drive, something they can see, they can look up to and see as worth doing, they will do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. This applies to all areas of life: games, recreation, success in business, success in health, success in relationships. If a person has a reason, an inspiration, which is ruled over by the Sun, they will tend to do whatever it takes to make whatever sacrifices it takes to make that thing happen. So that is why the Sun is so important. And then Saturn is the ability to take the steps, to actually do it, to endure the difficulties. And this again is why Sun and Saturn are so important in the D10 and so important when it comes to things like career and success in the world. So if you have difficulties with Sun and Saturn, you need to find ways to cultivate Sun and Saturn. And the way you learn to cultivate Sun and Saturn is by learning about Sun and Saturn. What are their positive qualities? What are their negative qualities? How do you overcome them? There is a series of videos I've done on this channel already. I believe it's called The Planets of the Mystic Path. I'll look it up here. Astrology and the Mystic Path. So if you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ryan's Vedic Astrology, and you look up Astrology and the Mystic Path, you will find a series of 8 videos where I go over each planet and I discuss the qualities of the plants and how to cultivate those from a much deeper level. So you want to focus on Sun and Saturn ideally when it comes to the best planets for success. Now, this is very similar to the ideas of health that we just discussed in the previous video, because Mercury is also a wonderful planet that leads to success. Why? Because Mercury is the manager. When Mercury is strong, first of all, you can see things clearly. Mercury represents our cognitive abilities, our ability to see what's really happening. And one of the biggest setbacks and obstacles that people face is they see things that aren't really relevant to their situation. It's because their Mercury isn't working well. When Mercury does well, the person has the capacity to see very clearly what needs to be done and when it needs to be done. It manages all things well. When Mercury has a lot of difficulty, people are out of step with the opportunity, or they don't keep up with situations that would provide them the best resources to take advantage of an opportunity. When Mercury goes retrograde, everyone thinks it's because Mercury went retrograde that we have the problem. Well, no. When Mercury goes retrograde, what's happening is what's coming out is where a person didn't have consistent attention and they let things slide. Like, for example, you've got a printer. Mercury goes retrograde. Well, if your Mercury is good, you keep an eye on the level of ink within that printer. And as soon as it starts to get, 3/4 of the way low, or it's got a quarter left, you order new ink cartridges. That's a person with a good Mercury managing things well. Someone who doesn't have a good Mercury barely pays attention to the printer. They just hope it works every now and then. And then Mercury retrograde comes along. They need to print an important document and they're out of ink. And rather than recognizing, oh, I just wasn't keeping up on that, they say, oh, it's Mercury retrograde. Well, Mercury retrograde brought out the weakness, but the weakness was already there. People just weren't paying attention. So Mercury itself is, again, one of those best and worst planets for success, because when it's bad, it causes all kinds of problems. But when it's good, the person is ready for opportunity. Now, another good planet for success, two other good planets to focus on for success, Mars and Jupiter. Mars gives the ability to overcome obstacles, to deal with emergency situations right now, so businesses don't get shut down, so bodies don't get ruined. It sees a problem, it says, let's deal with it right now, let's handle it, it's an emergency. Mars comes in, the firefighter, the policeman, the EMT, the electrician takes care of it, everything is well. When you've got a good Mars, when difficulties arise, when sudden breaks and changes come out of nowhere, you're good. You just deal with it and move on. Jupiter gives the ability to see the bigger picture, to see what leads to real happiness and joy. When Jupiter is not well supported within a chart, the person they just don't know how to go in a direction that's going to make them happy. They keep doing the wrong thing and they keep being unhappy and they can't figure out why. When Jupiter is in a good situation, that's the kind of person that they just seem to know what to do to bring about greater joy within their life. They're happier people in general. And so all of these planets tied together, they contribute to success. They support success. When they are good, they are really good. When they're middling, well, they're just average. They can be cultivated more easily when they're average. And when they're difficult, when they're not functioning well, one really needs to spend a lot of time learning about that planet which has the difficulty and finding ways to live, to cultivate, and to train themselves to tap into the power of that planetary energy. And yes, that can be mantra. Yes, that can be prayer. Yes, that can be spiritual approaches to things. But when it comes to success and support of that success, what really is required is doing the practical things that support that planet, the real down-to-earth, worldly things that support that planet. That's what's going to make all the difference, which will turn your worst planets into your best planets. And again, finding an astrologer, if you need one, who can help you see and navigate these qualities, that's going to be your best bet. And those of you who, if you've got an astrologer, wonderful. If you are an astrologer, wonderful. Astrologers I like to recommend are the individuals who went through the Asheville Vedic Astrology Apprenticeship Program, and there's only a few who've made it to the very end. But if you're interested, you can find them at ashevillevedicastrology.com and go to the Astrologers tab. There's a list and a picture and a description of all of the students who've made it through the full program. And who I personally approve of. They're the individuals that I recommend people get sessions from, my family, my friends, even my Kriya Yoga meditation students. So if you need help, please check in with them. If you yourself want to learn astrology, go to the Asheville Vedic Astrology page again And you'll find the Asheville Vedic Astrology Apprenticeship Program description there. Or you can go to vedic-astrology.teachable.com and you can look at the curriculum and see if you would like to participate. Anyway, these are my thoughts on the best and worst planets in Vedic astrology. They're very general, but as I mentioned, they're meant to be a support for the Asheville Vedic Astrology Apprenticeship Program. As I said in the very first video, in 2023, there will be a few more live events, one in the spring that we can safely say is happening, spring of 2023 in Northern California. So for more information on that, you can follow the blog at ashevillevedicastrology.com. Otherwise, I really appreciate your taking the time to watch the videos on this channel. There's a lot of information there for you. So go back through the videos, start at the beginning, scroll through them all. Just by studying those videos, you're going to learn a lot about Vedic astrology. Otherwise, we'll see you soon, and thanks for tuning in.